You regain consciousness to the sound of water dripping down stone walls. Feeling returns to you as you gaze forward. There, just a few feet in front of you, you see it. A body with no head. Perfect. You creep along the grimy prison floor to merge your essence with this fresh body. You stretch the rigor mortis out of the limbs as you stand, grab a nearby sword, and think to yourself, let's do this one more time. We're talking about Dead Cells. What's up, everybody? Welcome to 3VO, where we are all on the same team. I'm one of your hosts, Brendan.
And I'm the other one, Jordan.
And if you're new here, we're just two big old nerds who love to share our admiration, our respect, and our love of video games with everybody. So if you're one of those kinds of persons, then this is the show for you. As always, it's time to check in. Jordan, how you doing?
It has been a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
it's been a hell of a time. I don't know if you've been catching the bullshit that's been happening online with everything going on with OnlyFans and them changing up all of, their status and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just again, I don't want to speak for everybody at 3VO, all 3.5 of us. But sex work is real work. Stop being dicks, OnlyFans.
Yeah, truly.
You don't get to make billions of fucking dollars off these people, and then when your investors start to get all weird and Christian-y about it, just be like, and cut off completely.
Especially after amassing the wealth and following that you did on the backs of sex workers.
Because of that, exactly. That's what fucking drives me nuts.
Yeah, it's very Christopher Columbus energy, I would say. Yeah.
And what gets me is that you see a lot of stuff online from people. We'll move on to what our show's actually about here this time. I just need to get this off my chest.
We'll get out of hot takes.
We will. But it drives me nuts because I've been seeing stuff online from people on the site who are just like, well, this sucks because this is where I actually felt safe doing this kind of work. Mm-hmm. And now it's like I don't even feel welcome in the community that was kind of built for me is what it feels like. So.
As shitty as it is, and as totally dumb as it is, if it all goes down that road, like it looks like it's going to, and they just like completely ban, pornography essentially, on their site, I feel like something else will rise up and take its place.
Oh, they're already popping up. Like
there's gotta be
major creators on it already being like, I'm over here on like there's stuff called like Fansly, and there's a couple other sites that people are jumping to. So it's just like they're just shooting themselves in the foot too.
Honestly, because it's like what happened with Tumblr. Mm-hmm. It's like. I mean, because Yahoo bought Tumblr for like $1 billion or something crazy, and then banned all porn on it, and then sold it for like $3.3 million.
Well, that was gross at the beginning because they straight up said no female nipples. At the very beginning, they were like no female nipples, and you're just like, really? Which did result in some creative stuff of watching people who were taking topless photos, but then just photoshopping male nipples over the nipples, and then somehow subverted the guidelines for a while.
Amazing.
Which is when they then went to just no porn.
Wow. So that's fucking shitty.
So that sucks. Other than that, though, it's been a very good couple of weeks for me for gaming. Got a little bit further in Final Fantasy X, and then I say good. It's also been like a couple of weeks of just like rage quitting on games too.
Oh no!
So I got stuck again in Final Fantasy X on a boss that's just annoying. For anyone who knows the game, it's like the keeper. It's the sanctuary keeper. If you know what I'm talking about, you fucking know. I won't. It's too much to go into. It's Final Fantasy.
Gotcha. Are you forgetting about elemental damage?
No, I'm not this time.
Good.
No. I've learned my lesson a lot. That's what's frustrating is that now I understand how the game works, and it's still kicking my ass.
Sorry. It happens to the best of us.
It's true. So then I was like, okay, but I still want something just to fuck around in so I can listen to my podcast and just like zone out and play video games after work and whatnot. So I was like, oh, Red Dead Redemption 2 has a litany of fucking just bullshit to run around and do. Mm-hmm. So let's re-download that and throw it on. And did that and then remembered, oh god, the fucking intro to the game is like 3 hours fucking long of slow bullshit. Because they were making art, not a video game. Sounds really shitty. I really like the game.
That is not your opinion
Sounds
at
really
all.
shitty. I actually really love the game. No, my biggest complaint for the game is that the beginning takes too long to get into the actual game proper.
But could you and maybe I don't know, I've never played Red Dead Redemption 2, so I don't know how the saving structure works, but could you not maybe, like, go through the whole intro and then have a save file that is, like, your starting save file?
I could 100% do that. The only issue there is that the game also has, like, a morality system to it that is introduced at the beginning of the game, and those choices lend into later stuff in the game, so if I ever want to play it differently, I have to, like...
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, what if you just put your, like, where you start each time is, like, this save file? And
for sure. And I've done that before. I used to do that with Dead Space back in the day all the time, because it didn't have, like, the new Game Plus or whatever. But then today, also, after rage quitting the game we're going to talk about, another friend recommended to me a different game that came up on Game Pass called 12 Minutes.
Okay.
Which is, I just want to recommend it real quick. It's a fascinating game. You're essentially a guy who comes home from work, and then you have to relive the same 12 minutes over and over and over again until you figure out what the fuck is going on. Because someone who calls himself a cop just breaks into your apartment and kills you and your wife. Oh. Yeah, and you have to try to put pieces together and shit too. So played that for like 3 hours today. Also rage quit that game. It's just been... It's just been a couple weeks of me going, I like this game. Fuck this game.
Jordan, I'm worried that your threshold for rage quitting is remarkably low.
You know, I'd be mad, but you're right.
It's just, the common denominator here is...
No. Let's be clear here. I'm the problem. I recognize this. Well, I'm the issue here.
Well, that's the first step, buddy.
Yeah. It's my only step. I'm not... I'll go any further than that.
I myself have been playing the new Pokemon Snap DLC came out, so I played through. There's like 3 new levels. Nice. And it's fun. It's a good time suck. Mm-hmm. I've also been playing the game that we're about to talk about, on today's podcast, because you can sink so many hours into it.
Oh my god!
And not lose like interest. I think you can definitely rage quit.
For sure. For sure.
But other than that, I recently started actually trying to take care of my body and my health and exercising and stuff.
Yay, I know. Love to see it. Love to see it.
I've walked 13 and a half miles in the past 5 days.
Dude, damn, there you go.
Yeah, so I've been really trying to like do something about all this.
It's first of all this is great.
Thank you.
We love seeing some like.
Thank you. That's what I love seeing some
for. I'm just saying we love seeing some very just like taking care of yourselves and all that healthy stuff. I know because I've seen it, just like the pandemic and just like everybody kind of getting locked inside. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of made a lot of people go like, "Oh fucking now, what do I do?"
Yeah. And some people were like, "Well, I'm just gonna like work out at home and like do jumping jacks and run around my block and blah 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 blah." And I was like, "I'm gonna learn how to make sourdough bread." So
both are valid responses.
No, absolutely.
Whatever you gotta do to take care of your own mental health.
No, of course.
Times of crisis.
No, I'm not knocking that at all.
Yeah, because here's what I did. I was already on a pretty intense like workout thing where I was just like, I need to stick with this, I need to have this, and I was already working out at home, so I got lucky there. But the pandemic had also went, all right, I'm just gonna start drinking like a fucking monster again. Because the world's crumbling around me. What else am I gonna fucking do?
And that's also a valid response.
Right.
In moderation.
In moderation. We found the balance. We have found the balance.
Got there. All right, well, now that we've got all of that out of the way, let's talk about the game that we're here to discuss today, and that is Dead Cells. So Dead Cells is a roguelike Metroidvania where you die a lot. You play as this undead prisoner who's only known as, like, the prisoner or the beheaded, and you take over headless bodies on this island, and you fight your way through hordes of enemies on your quest to defeat the king of the island, who's responsible for this, like, plague that is essentially wreaked havoc on the island, killed most of the inhabitants. So you're on your way to go kick his butt. Dead Cells is developed and published by the same studio. It's a French studio called Motion Twin, and it was made available in August of 2018. So it's just over 3 years old as of the time of recording this. It is available on every platform: PC, Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, and soon it's going to be available on Android too.
Oh shit, really?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah. So there's still support for the game. It's still very much active. The most recent patch actually came out this month. So there's still a lot going on, and there's 2 DLC packs for it.
Really?
Yeah, nothing
Nice.
that I've messed with because I haven't paid for it. It's available right now on the Game Pass through Xbox if you have that. I myself have not dipped into that, but I very well might after I play through and actually beat the game because it's very, very fun. So let's just dive into this game. So you wake up, you're in a prison.
Mm-hmm.
You were a pile of like green mossy cells.
It's the best I can describe it.
things.
It's like a big thing of goo that fell out of a tube.
Yep. And you slime your way over to a headless body, and you're like, this looks good, and you fit yourself in, and you stand up, and you're like, cool. I'm the guy now.
Very rarely, this quickly in a game or a movie or anything, have I found myself looking at the screen going, what the fuck am I looking at?
Truly.
And like in a good way, like don't get me wrong, but it was just like, what is happening right now?
Yeah, it's super strange. And then you go along, and there's like a tutorial, and essentially you're dropped into a Metroidvania. Classic platforming 2D scroller type situation. Maze-like maps, a host of inventory stuff. So like lots of weapons, ranged weapons, swords. You have hammers, so like slow weapons too. You have not a very complicated equipment system as far as like armor, I would say.
Yeah, not really.
You have like amulets, and that's pretty much it. And then you also have traps that you can work with. So it's a pretty, I would say, kind of reduced inventory system for a Metroidvania.
Yeah, the best way that I would kind of put it is sort of like a very streamlined side-scroller, like Dark Souls kind of.
Okay, I haven't played Dark Souls, but
it kind of has that feel to me, especially with the restarts and just like trying to make your way through slowly but surely and stuff like that. But
yeah. So you just hit on the central kind of idea of the game is that you as like a player, as like a person playing through, die a lot, but the character doesn't.
The character can't die. That's the whole thing, is that he can't die.
Exactly. You just revert back to that sort of squishy pile of goo, and you crawl your way back to the prison, and then you find another body, and then you start all over again.
Yeah.
And that's where the cycles begin. So you go through, you get as far as you can, you die, you go back to the beginning, and you have all of the experience that you had from that first run, as well as some things that unlock and become permanent to the character over time.
Yeah, but you can't. It's not like I was hoping and understanding that just kind of like, oh, okay, each time I die, I get the system a bit more and I kind of figure stuff out. But the fucking map will move and change on you and shit.
Yes, exactly.
Like, God damn it, it's one of these.
So we have a wonderful system of procedurally generated maps every time that you play through. So it's nothing that you can memorize, which I know is kind of like not exciting the first time you come across it, but it's a good point.
But it's also, I totally get it, because there's stuff that you could unlock when you get to certain areas under a certain amount of time. So I get why you wouldn't want to make a system where it's just like, oh yeah, easy. I get here and I get 30 fucking orbs and shit like that, just like right away.
Exactly. So you have this Metroidvania that is very fresh every time you run through it, and you're going to be dying a lot because you don't start out with a whole lot in the way of equipment or health.
No.
At all. So you're gonna die quite a bit. I myself have not even finished a whole run of the game, which is getting through all of the bosses on your way to the Hand of the King, who, to my understanding, is the final boss. I don't think you have to actually fight the king, but I don't know. I haven't gotten that far, and I didn't want to spoil it, so I didn't look it up. But I've gotten to the Hand of the King, who felt very much like the final boss. He was very difficult. So you die, and then you go back, and you start over again, and you start to unlock things that become part of your permanent character.
Yeah.
So there's these artifacts that you can find called runes.
Which was the part that kept me invested in the game, because I've played these styles of games before on like a smaller like platformer level, and it's just like when you start completely back over at zero every time, it's really, really frustrating. It's like, I get you unlock stuff and whatnot. Yeah. This was nice to be like, oh, okay, I'm starting over, but it's going to get a little better for me every time I play, essentially, which is really, really nice. Like, there's always a goal I'm working towards other than just getting through and not dying, you know?
Yeah. And not to undersell the importance of the knowledge that you gain through playing through the
Absolutely.
loops.
Absolutely.
Because of the large weapon and trap and enhancement system that there is, you can only have so much on you. That's very much reduced. But the options for what those are very much expanded. So that's kind of where the complexity of this game lies, I would say, because there's, fast swords and slow swords and swords that care about fire damage and things that care about having stunned enemies. And that can all change. It's not always the same modifiers on the same weapon. So
stuff that just makes them bleed out.
Stuff that covers them in inflammable oil that you can then light on fire to do more damage. There's a lot of different builds that you can have through this game. And I really like that because it's, one, really fun to test all of those different things out. And, go, I don't really care about this run. Like, I'm just trying to get, like, a bunch of cells this time or gold or whatever to, like, buy the thing. So I'm going to try out, this wacky, weapon and just, like, try it out for a run. And you go, okay, well, that wasn't for me. Like, I didn't really like that, but it was fun to try it out. And that's... And that's valuable because you learn, okay, I don't want to run like that. And all of the different stuff, too, it's also just, like, something else, too, that is cool is that, for the most part, I didn't really run anything that wasn't fun to use, if that makes sense. Like, everything was kind of a blast of just, like, try out and play with and run. Even if it wasn't, like, my style and speed, I did find myself going, like, okay, but it was, like, it was cool to what I could do with a giant hammer for a while. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I was just thinking about the hammer.
I was stuff like that.
Because the hammer, I don't like because it's slow. But it's pretty fun when you whack it.
Especially when you're just, like, you're dropping it from a high height and you go, there's a little green fuck. Boom! And you just watch him just...
So you have this, like, endless replay value because there's... Every time I go through a run, I come across something I haven't seen before, whether that be like an area or an enemy or a weapon or a trap or something.
The first time playing through, I was running around and I just like got up into this higher up area and I came across this little, I mean, you'll know what this actually does now because I found out later too. There's this little green pile of like goo that was sitting on the ground. I was like, what the hell is that? And I walked over and it just said RB to tickle. And I was just like, all right, so I just sat there for like 30 seconds just going on this little green pile. And I was like, what is this? I'm just going to keep going, I guess. Like, I love the game just like has everything already there, even if you can't like use it properly. Because later you unlock it and that's what shoots out like the big green like spike pile that you can climb up and shit like that.
Exactly, the vine,
the vine, thank you. But it's just like, it's kind of cool that I'm interacting with things and I'm just like pressing buttons. I'm just like, what's supposed to happen here? Same thing with the statues with electricity flying out. I have no idea what those do yet.
I like that because it shows you, hey, there's more to get.
Exactly.
There's like more to find. You need to explore more. And this kind of leans, so we'll circle back to these.
Sure.
But that kind of leans into what's cool about the game too, is that it's non-linear at all. So you have level 1, and level 1 alone is the shortest. It's only, the time door at the end is 2 minutes. So you can run this very, very fast. But it leads to one of two places. It can lead to the Promenade of the Damned, or it can lead to the Toxic Sewers. And those in turn lead to more places and more places and more places. Now, that is to say, you're always going to go through a certain number of like bosses before you get to the end. I believe it's like 3 bosses, or maybe 2 before you get to the Hand of the King. But the paths that you can take to get there can vary greatly. There's even some levels that I've come across that will spit you back out to like a 3rd level stage. So it'll be like stage 1, stage 2, like sidetrack, back to stage 3.
Interesting.
And they're shorter and they have like stuff in them, so they're like worth it, but they don't advance you, unfortunately.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
So there's
a little secret area.
Lots of different paths that you can take. And as you were alluding to, the vine thing, you can get these artifacts in different areas that give you different powers to access different areas, like activating the vine so that you can climb up higher. And it's nice to have those there that you can come across, like I said, because then you know, oh, there's something else that I need to go find. I know that I've searched in, this stage, I know that I've searched in this stage. that must mean, oh, maybe there's something else to find in this stage that I haven't explored that much.
Mhm.
Oh, it leads to this other area, this other stage I haven't been to. That's where I'm going to find the thing to do the thing to get to the place.
Yeah.
That was badly explained, but you understand what I mean.
No, I totally get what you mean by that.
Yeah. I also really enjoy that the game has no fourth wall.
None. The humor in this game is what got to me the most. It's it's such a particular style of like dark humor. It's like silly dark humor. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
But it's very goofy, but everything is very kind of macabre in its own sense too.
Yeah, it's definitely its own style of dark humor with no fourth wall at it.
Yeah.
And I adore something with no fourth wall.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I came across, one of my favorite moments recently was I came across a door. I was in the beginning area just like running around trying to find stuff. And I came across a door, like this little like pool of water that was kind of getting to the bottom of the area.
Mm-hmm.
And I knocked on this door, and this guy and then there's someone behind the door who went, "Hey, my cell's filling up with water." And my character just kind of looked up, and then just went,
yeah.
just thumbs up, like, "Yeah, it is, hell." It was just like, and the guy was like, and the guy behind the door was just like, okay.
Yeah.
And then he got eaten by something.
Yeah. And
He's like, wait, there's something moving in here. And then I knocked again, and it was just like, no answer. I guess he left.
Yeah.
Fucking killed me.
My favorite one that I've come across so far is at one point I was just walking around and there was something written on the wall, and so the character I clicked on it and he was like, it says "get good." Must be some ancient incantation.
That's fucking amazing.
I know.
Oh my god, that's so good.
What else do you enjoy about Dead Cells? Is there anything that stands out to you?
I enjoy the pacing of the game. Like, even like out the gate, even with the introduction of like kind of like having an explanation of like you got your head chopped off, but your head gets to survive the whole time and whatnot. It never slows down. The game kind of keeps moving. Even as like new mechanics are introduced and explained to you, the pacing stays very, very consistent. And that's something that I really, really appreciate about a game like this. Because it's my biggest issue with stuff like Dark Souls and stuff like that. Is I get bogged down with lore and just like external stuff. I'm just like, this is all really cool and really fascinating, but I'm here to play a game, guys. Like, can we
Yeah. Feel that.
Because, like, looking externally should feel like an option, like in Mass Effect. If you want to explore more, you can. You can go and seek that stuff out. And obviously, it helps with the game, but it still feels like more of an option to me and stuff like that. Whereas, like, with everything else, it's like, now I must tell you the myth of Ragnarok, the gatekeeper. I'm just like, I don't care. As far as just like, I'm the timekeeper. I record your shit. All right, cool. I'm going to go kill some dudes for a while, and then I'll probably be back here in like 5 minutes.
I'll see you soon.
So there's that. Just the gameplay is just like so clean.
It's very clean. I do have one kind of gripe with the controls, and that's, I find that when I'm using the analog stick to move the character, and maybe it's a problem with my controller, or maybe myself, I have no idea, but I find that it tends to like take a down input when I don't mean to be.
Yep, does the same thing for me.
Okay, so it's not just me.
I'll just be going along, and all of a sudden my guy will just start crouching. I'm like, didn't want you to do that, pal. No.
And that can affect things, especially when you're trying to like dash down or like get down or whatever. This is easily rectified by just using the D-pad, so it's not. It's not a real gripe. It's just a little thing that I did notice.
It's true, but it's just like that comes down for me with like actual like gaming feel at a certain point. So it's like I could do a whole episode on just like the feel of like certain controllers and how that affects gameplay and stuff for me. Same thing with that. Using an analog stick feels cleaner to me than using the D-pad.
I agree, but I forgive it because everything else on the game is so solid.
It's not a glaring or big issue and whatnot. Everything else in the game is like awesome and polished. And just again, so like we talked about before with Spiritfarer, I'm very drawn in by the look of this game. There's just something really cool about, like, I don't know. I like things that feel familiar but are also of their own world, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Because it's like you could definitely feel the themes of like Castlevania and stuff like that, kind of like drawing inspiration in here. But I also can't say that I've seen another game that looks like Dead Cells either. Like, it's very reminiscent of other things, but like it's really got its own style to it. That is really cool to look at, much like Spiritfarer, but going in the opposite direction, arguably. But just like, yeah, like, I see the reference points, but you definitely made your own thing here, which I really, really appreciate.
The thing that I noticed playing it is that the color saturation is really dialed up on everything.
Yeah.
And that can be overwhelming visually.
Yeah.
But it's really nice on Dead Cells, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I don't know a thing about art. I'm putting myself out there right now. Don't know a thing. Other than like color saturation and hue and light. Like, this is about it, you know? Very functional knowledge. But
you only have an arts degree, but it's fine.
Performing arts.
It's still art.
But what I mean is, like, as far as like actual like visual art.
I gotcha.
I don't know a thing. But the saturation is really, really high, but the lines are not blurry, but not pixelated.
No,
but a little bit.
It's a little. It's interesting. Yeah, because it looks, when you first look at it, it's sort of like saying pixelated is wrong.
Wrong.
Like, it's definitely wrong.
But it's not completely wrong.
But it's not totally wrong, because it's definitely pixelation that you're looking at.
Right.
But it's like, it's not 8-bit.
It's not 8-bit. It's not even 32-bit.
It's barely, no, it's not even 32-bit. It's just
and the movement is so clean.
Yeah, that's the thing too.
There's sort of a visual incongruence there, because we're used to like 32-bit and 8-bit and all that being like, you know, like very clunky.
But this is so smooth.
Mm-hmm. But somehow unfocused.
A little bit, yeah.
You know?
There's something
in a good way.
There's something that feels like we pulled back a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
But it was on purpose.
Yeah. It's hard to describe. Look at us.
It's really difficult to describe. You just like check it out.
You'll see what we mean. We're doing a very poor job of describing it.
This is another one that I think it's a definite 3VO. Just like, please go try this out, because it's a really interesting game to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even if you just play it for an hour and you're like, man, I'll move on. Yeah. It's still worth it.
Because that's definitely more the line where I kind of have ended up with this thing, is that I have a lot of respect for this. I don't think this is something I'm going to keep playing a whole lot. Just to, well, here, let me take you through the last few bits of my notes here that I got for the game, just to show you kind of like where we go. So, middle of the notes. Oh, and then we repeat. Okay, I'm already mad. And then I went, treasure chest, that's fun. Oh god, what the fuck? And then at one point I was looking at the screen and went, oh my god, I'm actively bleeding. I was watching my character just like bleed out as I was standing there. Then I got the electric whip, and I realized that some of the environments are affected by the environmental weapons. And I went, that's really cool. And then I did something else with the treasure chest, and I went, how did I anger the gods? I did what it said.
It's cursed.
And then my last note is, I get the gist, fuck this game. Again, absolute respect. It is a great game. As we said at the beginning, the problem is with me. It's a me issue with this game. Sure. The game is not a fault here. It's all me.
If you like this style of game, it's definitely worth checking out. I highly recommend it. Yeah. I'm not like, it's not one of those games where I think you sit down and you're like, okay, I'm gonna like get through this until like I'm done.
Yeah, no.
Like Zelda or you know, Mario or something like that. Yeah. It's one that you can pick up and put down at any point. You know, I could pick this up in 2 months and not be thinking like, oh, how do I do this again? What is this about? I don't remember anything. What are the controls? It's not like that. Yeah. It's one that you can very easily put up and pick down, and I very much appreciate that.
If you're already a gamer and have been a gamer for a while, just like, it's pretty intuitive, like the controls at this point. It's A to jump, here's your weapon slots, like here's where this goes, you push this button to use that. It's all pretty fucking easy.
Yeah. And it's all additive. So every time you do a run, you get something, you know, you're putting your cells, which is like a currency in this game. You pick up cells from enemies and from chests and things, and you sock them into upgrades or new weapons or, you know, new mutations, which are like upgrades for your character through a run. So you're always getting something out of doing a run.
Yeah.
It never feels like, oh, if I pick this up for an hour and only play for an hour for the next like 2 weeks, I haven't done anything. I'm just going to basically have to remember everything that I did, and be worse off for it. It's it's not like that. And I appreciate that with the kind of schedule I have.
Right, exactly.
So-
No, for sure. For sure. And just the other thing too was like I really like a game that sort of lets the story unravel in front of you, and that way too. Just like I'm still picking stuff up, and that's the only thing that will probably keep me coming back. Is just like this story is interesting enough to get me to want to like go, okay, but what the fuck is happening here? Like why do I keep coming back to life? How did this happen to me? What is the deal with these other people that are like still kind of here?
Yeah.
How did I end up in this? Why did I get my head chopped off? Like. So there's discovery aspects to it too that I find very interesting that I definitely want to keep playing in.
Yeah. Or were you ever even a person? Did you get your head chopped off, or are you just a pile of goo?
The only hint to that is that when you first drop down every time as the little pile of goo and then take over a body, there's like the little stump thing that's there with the giant axe there, and you go over and walk over to it. You sort of expect it and go, oh, they kind of did a number on me, didn't they?
Yeah, okay, you're right.
So there is some, although that could also be a fucking red herring.
True.
That's just there to throw you off, and you're just assuming, you know? And it's like, yeah, I would be, yeah. So there's enough there that's keeping me interested that I'll probably keep just getting mad at the game.
Yeah. I don't know how much of this you've discovered, but there's little areas throughout many of the levels, and some of them have this character that keeps reoccurring called he's like the alchemist. He's like doing this research into the malaise, the like plague or whatever.
I haven't met him yet. No,
I haven't met him.
Okay.
But he has like little like areas, little labs and stuff, and like research notes and things that you can come across while you explore.
No, I haven't caught any.
And he's like researching into the malaise. So it's like, okay, so where is he? What happened? Did he find something out? Like, what is he going to discover? That's very intriguing to me.
Yeah, that's really cool. I like that though. All right, yeah, damn it, I have to fucking keep playing this goddamn game.
You do.
I do. To which I will say, like, the way that I've been talking about it makes it sound like I played it for an hour and then I got mad and turned it off. Like, no, it wasn't. I've been playing this for a couple days now.
Yeah. So
it's like, it wasn't. So even for someone like me who has a very low threshold for getting upset at a game and then turning it off, it's fucking, again, the problem's with me. It still was fun enough to where I was just like, every time I die, I would go, gah. Okay, here we go again. Like, let's get back into it.
Death is almost not a bad thing, I find. Like, I'm not as upset when I die in Dead Cells as I am when I die in, like, Legend of Zelda or something like that.
Ooh, okay. I feel the opposite, honestly,
really?
for something like that. Well, because traditionally with a game like that, when you die, you get set back a little bit, but you still keep most of your stuff. And it's like, I get with like some of the stuff that you can unlock and whatnot, you are making progress more and more and more. But it's, you start back with the shitty dagger and either the shitty bow or the shitty shield. So it's just like, man, I got so much cool, especially when I find a combo that I really like.
Okay, so I have something that you probably haven't come across yet, but that'll actually make death a little less grueling for you, but that'll be in the next section.
Ooh, okay.
All right, everybody, we've made it to the bonus round. I thought it would be really great to go over some tips and tricks that I have put together for this game, and maybe this will be beneficial for you, or you out there, if you're going to pick up this game and start out on it. So my first tip is try everything out. This is kind of something that we touched on before. There is a litany of different weapons and upgrades and things that you can get over the course of your time in Dead Cells. Try everything out. I've definitely been guilty of looking at something and going, I don't really think that that would be for me, and then picking it up later because it was like the only thing around or something, and going, wow, I was dumb. I should have been using this a long time ago. Particularly the like thunder whip, the electric whip.
Oh, I love that thing so much.
That thing is awesome.
That thing is brilliant.
I thought for sure I wouldn't like it because I was thinking of like Castlevania, kind of, honestly, like the Belmont's whip. And I was like, not for me. I'm sure it's fine, but whatever. Give me a sword. I picked it up and I run it. I was like, this thing's amazing.
No, the electric whip is one of my favorite weapons in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So don't be afraid to pick something up and try it. Also, items don't disappear when you drop them.
Yes.
So if you drop something to try something else out, try it on a couple enemies and go, you know what? I really don't like this. I want what I had before.
Yeah.
You can go back and pick it up. And as you progress in the game, you can get an upgrade called the backpack, which is essentially an extra slot on your person to put things in. So, keep playing, man.
If you're only listening to this podcast right
now, the face.
Just know. I'm just like I'm happy but also mad simultaneously. It's the weirdest feeling I've ever had. The game just it's both.
It makes you earn things. Honestly, it makes you earn things. I can appreciate that. So that's my tip. Try everything out. You don't know if you're gonna like it or not. Especially with the traps, because they all operate in very different ways.
Yes.
And everything has different modifiers too on it. We'll expel a gas cloud. We'll throw an arrow in front of you. We'll throw an arrow up. Just try everything out. You never know.
Traps is something I need to get better about using in the game too, because it's just I don't know why my brain is just hack and slash or shield. That's all you do. Or throw an item on occasion. That's it.
Very much guilty of that. I'm very much guilty of that.
But every time I use them, it makes life so much fucking easier. So I don't know why it doesn't hit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am super guilty of that. I always forget. I'm like, oh yeah, the wolf trap, so I can keep things from moving around, hitting me. Yeah,
The one that I like, I don't know what it's called, but it's it says something it throws blades at your enemies, and the first time I threw it down, I was like, this is a Gatling gun.
Yeah.
This is basically a Gatling gun.
It looks like a little samurai.
Yeah.
With spinning blades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was just like, this is a fucking turret. That's what this is.
Yep. So try everything out. Mm-hmm. My second tip is to be smart about your cell spending. So as I talked about before, you're going to be getting this currency called cells in the game. They're these blue orbs, and you can use them with the Collector, who is a character that you get to interact with in between each level. And you can sock your cells into upgrades that are permanent for your character, or also into weapons that will become available to you. So this is very useful for getting those upgrades, like upgrading your health flasks so that you can heal yourself more times in the level, or upgrading the dead man's bag, which gives you a little bit more starting gold when you die. Mm-hmm. So these are things that you can upgrade. You can also get weapons that'll become available to your runs, and mutations that you can select from another character that you can interact with in between levels. But the tip is to be smart about it. So if you're looking at something in the Collector's inventory, something that you can put your cells into, and you're like, I don't really think I'd be using that, or I don't really think that I would, benefit from having that, don't waste your cells on it. Cells are a precious commodity. You lose them when you die. So just sock them into something that you know you're going to get something out of, like upgrading that health flask as fast as you possibly can. Upgrade that health flask. I just got the last upgrade for the health flask, so I can heal 4 times. Oh, that's so nice.
I just got 2, and it changed my fucking life in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a big improvement. It's a big difference.
That to me is if I'm going to recommend one upgrade to try to get to the first time through, it is definitely the health flask.
Yeah, and to get the health flask upgrades at higher levels, you have to have other amounts of things unlocked.
Yep.
So you're going to have to do it anyway. Just be smart about your cell spending.
Yeah.
Opposite to that, spend your gold. Just spend your gold. You're going to get a lot of it, and you can only restart with so much of it once you even acquire the Dead Man's Bag upgrade. Right now I'm starting, I think, with 1,500 gold in a run,
that's not bad.
It's not bad, but it's hardly anything in the grand scheme of things.
In comparison, yeah.
Yeah. And the things that you can spend your gold on are the shops that you can find scattered throughout certain levels, and then upgrading your weapons at the millstone with the guy in between levels. So you can't take it with you. Spend your gold. Save yourselves. Do those smart, but spend your gold. My next tip is that stunning and or freezing enemies is the best thing that you can do.
Ice Blast is the fucking shit.
Yep. And if you hadn't come across it yet, I was going to tell you at this point. Ice Blast is the best thing that you can get.
I got my last run, and this is why I rage quit the fucking game on this last run, because I got Ice Blast and the electric whip together, and that was just the fucking primo combination to have in the game. I was like, oh my god. And the little like samurai like Gatling gun thing that I was talking about before.
Yeah.
It was just I would run in, lay that thing down, ice blast everybody, and then just fucking whip them to death. And I was just like, I'm in heaven.
My favorite build so far has been a combination of the ice blast and firebrands, which is like the fire blast equivalent.
Yeah.
Seems counterintuitive, but like fire and ice. So hear me out. Frost blast, freeze them, right?
Yeah.
Do some damage. But ice blast won't hurt them again if they're already frozen.
Yeah.
So you can't just spam ice blast at them,
right?
But you can thaw them with a fire and then go back and forth and do tons of damage. So that's what I was doing. It was a great run.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
I also had an amulet that when you do the downward smash, it would spread inflammable oil around.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it was like drop in, spread the oil, freeze them. They have no idea what's going on. Fire, the whole like everything catches on fire. It's great.
There are moments in the game where it's just like I would love to see the fucking enemy's headspace in moments, because you're just kind of walking back and forth, chilling out, and then all of a sudden you're just like, I'm frozen or I'm on fire. What the fuck just happened to me?
Yes. But there's a lot of enemies, and you can get overrun very quickly.
Oh my God, so fast.
Very quickly, because you'll drop in and be like, oh, there's like 2 rats here, and then you'll drop in and there's a scorpion behind you and a zombie that's coming in from out of screen, and you're overrun and you're like, God, dead.
That was something that I did learn very quickly, was just like, because I thought it was just like go through, try to fight everything you can, Learned very quickly, like, look, because you're like, your area of view is actually pretty big, like depending on how you drop in and how you come into your area and whatnot. But I learned very quickly to just like look at an area, look at the stuff I have, and then move forward from there. Because it's like, if it's like 3 or 4 enemies that are like kind of difficult, but I've got like a decent combination of things, then yeah, let's go and collect some cells and maybe get some gold out of this. But if I haven't found anything and I'm still working with like the rusty dagger and the shitty shield, and there's like 12 enemies in front of me, I'm not coming out of that.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, just dodge roll through and just keep fucking moving until I find something better.
Yes, that's a good like bonus tip. The dodge roll is so good.
Because there is no like, if your timing's good, there's no like way for them to block it, as far as I know anyway.
No.
And you can just fucking keep going.
Exactly. And it gives you invincibility frames, which is really nice.
Yep.
So you can dodge through just about anything, even like spikes on the ground. And if you roll and you like pop up in the same place that an enemy is, you'll just push each other. You won't take damage. Yeah. So the dodge roll is your best friend.
Yeah. Oh, another tip that I don't know if you have on your screen too.
Yeah, go for it.
If you look at something in the environment and think it could kill you, it probably can kill you.
Honestly,
just assume so and move forward.
Yeah, truly.
Because I got to the sewers and I saw the green water and I went, that could just be different colored water because I'm in the sewers, but also it's green. I'm going to keep going. And then I fell into an accident later on and I started taking damage and I was like, I was right.
Yeah, don't touch the green water.
If you think it can kill you, it can probably kill you. So just leave it alone.
Kind of piggybacking off of the last tip, you're going to get overrun. Like, it's going to happen eventually, and you're going to get whacked by something that just takes off an incredibly large portion of your health. And you'll see that, like, little yellow bar of, like, 50% of your health getting knocked away. So here's a tip for when that happens. You can regain that lost health in a limited window of time if you're slicing and dicing and hitting your target while it happens.
Okay.
It's not a very intuitive thing. It's not like very like public knowledge, but you can regain some health in that limited window of time.
That is actually pretty standard though for this type of game though. So
is it?
Yeah, for a few games like this have that little like, if you get like a crit or something like that while this is up, you get that health back.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
Okay, well then that same logic carries through in Dead Cells. You can regain some of that lost health when you get whacked for 50, I'm not even kidding, 50% of your health.
It's, from what I know, it's mostly common for like the dungeon crawler games, like stuff like this.
Very good.
So it's not like an overall, it's not like health bars in like every game. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more niche than that. So not surprising that you haven't totally come across it yet.
That's fair. My next tip is You to speedrun the first level over and over and over to build up your cells.
Yep.
Because at the end of a lot of levels, there are these like bonus doors in the like in between area where like the collector and like your health refill is. There's these doors that if you meet certain criteria, you can open them and you get a bunch of cells and a bunch of money and like a weapon or, you know, whatever might be in the room. And it gets better as you advance. But the end of the first level, which is, again, very short, the end of that level has a 2-minute door. So if you can race through the first level in under 2 minutes and get to that door, you get a bonus of 20 cells, which is nothing to sneeze at.
No, it's
not at all.
And also, just like 2 minutes for typically for games sounds like a very short amount of time. When we say this game is fast paced, that is no bullshit.
No.
Like, you can run through the first area in under 2 minutes. I think my fast time I got through was like 1 minute and 20 seconds or something.
I've done 24 seconds.
24 seconds? That's fucking nuts.
I've done 24 seconds on the first level.
That's
it was
insane.
incredibly lucky, like, you know, but it can happen.
Right.
I average about a minute when I'm like trying to get cells, just like speedrunning the first level.
Oh, the first level for me now is just I'm going to try to get cells.
Me too.
That is primarily what I'm using it for.
Yeah, because
like if I find other stuff, neat. But I am just trying to blast through to get to the next area to get cells.
Absolutely. The end of the like second level is like an 8-minute.
It's
door.
8 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's the other one I try to hit too if I'm primarily going for cells.
Yeah. If I'm going for like longevity, like trying to see how far I can get, then I'll try to do that in the first 2 levels. Yeah. And then after that, I'm like, okay, it's too hard.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, the timed doors fall off, and then it's just how many enemies can you kill in a row without taking damage.
Which I've never opened a single one of those doors. Has never happened for me.
I did a 30 door a couple of times. But in the later stages, it's like 60 enemies without taking damage.
Yeah. Never even gotten 30. Never even gotten 30.
Too hard. So, but that's the tip. You can speedrun just the first level to get a reward of 20 cells. And even if you don't hit any enemies, you just run to the end. Or run around as fast as you can trying to find the end, you can get a reward of 20 cells. And that is very lucrative because, like I said, I average about a minute now. And that's not trying very hard. That's just going. So even at the beginning of the game, when you don't have a lot of those like permanent things built up, you can still do that and be fine. And
use the shit out of the teleporters. Now, something else I learned too, because it's like another comment to the game though is that it's kind of like I wasn't thinking about the timing for trying to open those doors and whatnot, so I was just having fun in the areas, just like running and jumping around and shit like that and exploring. Because it's again, everything's streamlined, the gameplay is super smooth and clean, so I was just having fun running around. I wasn't using the teleporters, and I was just like, that'll probably save me about 30 to 40 seconds, depending on where I'm teleporting from. So let's start using those finally, so I can get to the doors a little bit quicker. Yeah, definitely. Okay, the next tip is always pick up at least 1 green scroll, because it's a 60% boost to your health. Pick it up. Just pick it up. Because you need that health. The first upgrade on... So let's explain the different, like, classes, I guess? Sure. The 3 different, like, attributes. Well, attributes. There we go. I like it. There's, like, melee, ranged, and then survival. Yes. And those are the 3... like core attributes that the character has. So red is melee, and that's going to increase your like melee weapon damage and give you a little bit of health. Purple is ranged, and that's going to help you with like ranged weapons, some traps, and also give you a little bit of a boost to health. Green is survival, and that helps you with green items, which is like some of the magical stuff like the ice blast. It gives you the biggest bang for your buck when it comes to health. So the first green scroll that you can pick up, it's a little misleading. You pick up a scroll and then you get to choose which attribute that you increase. Always increase the green attribute first, survival, because you'll get that plus 60% boost to your health, and that will help you so much. It helps you out a lot. Getting a higher health boost is like one of the more helpful things you can do in the game, for sure. Absolutely. After that,
pretty much sock it into like whatever attribute you're gunning for. So if you run with swords, up your melee. If you run with bows and arrows, up your range stuff. But after that, you can pretty much forget about green.
Yeah, it's true.
And then the last tip, kind of going off of that a little bit. Again, it's sort of a thing that's not very intuitive with the game. Like you can't really. I would say you probably wouldn't really figure this out on your own. But the enemies don't scale in difficulty based on the level that you're in or the damage output that you have with your weapons.
Interesting.
They scale with the number of scrolls that you've picked up.
Okay.
Yeah. So what that means is you need to balance your gear versus your scrolls. So it's not always the best to pick up every scroll that you see, especially if you've been lacking in the gear department. So if you've gone a long time, like many stages, without picking up new gear that's, at a higher level, or you just like kind of feel like lacking in power, it might actually be good to scale back and not pick up any scrolls so that you don't overpower the enemies on your own.
It makes so much sense. I had a run where just like on each area, I wasn't going for like cells or anything. I was just like, I'm going to find as much as I can. And I picked up like 3 or 4 scrolls and I made it to the rampart. So like I was pretty stacked, I thought.
Yeah.
And then just got my shit pushed in. I was just like, well, what the fuck? Then what was the point of all that? So now that makes sense too.
Yeah. To be fair, the first time that you get to the ramparts, you're gonna get your shit
knocked. You're gonna get shit knocked no matter what.
You're gonna get your whole world rocked.
It's true.
And that is the end of my tips and tricks.
Those are really good tips.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I hope that helps you. And I hope that helps you out there if you're going to pick up Dead Cells and start playing through it.
It is also a perfect concept for the game, though, because the game can make you mad outside of playing it as well.
The gift that keeps on giving. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We hope that you enjoyed our episode about Dead Cells. If you've also played it or you're going to pick it up, we want to know what your thoughts are. So have you gotten to the end? Did you defeat the Hand of the King? What do you like to roll with? What's your favorite weapon? Let us know.
Also, if you have any ideas for future discussions you'd like us to have on the show, please send us an email at 3VOpodcastteam@gmail.com. And just give us your ideas and just like your thoughts and share things with us. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at 3VO Podcast. We're also on TikTok. We only have like 2 videos, but we're on TikTok. We're there. That's the important thing, is that we're on the platform.
We have a presence.
Yes. And make sure to comment, like, subscribe to our show. It really makes a difference, guys. And we will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much.
Bye.